In 1616, a 13-year-old boy in England started having violent fits. He's thrashing around, making strange animal noises, even speaking in other voices. Then he accused 15 local women of witchcraft. 9 of them were hanged, but months later, King James himself showed up and exposed the entire thing. Welcome to True Court Tales, where courtroom chaos gets the spotlight it deserves. I talk about the bizarre, the unhinged, sometimes serious, sometimes heartwarming courtroom moments. If it happened in court, we're probably talking about it. So today's case is called the Leicester Boy Witch Accusation of 1616. So let's get to it. And by the way, when you look at the name of this village, it looks like Leicester, but apparently it's pronounced Leicester. So if I am mispronouncing that, I'm very sorry. I tried my best. All right, so the year was 1616, and England was neck deep in witch trials, superstition, and paranoia. In the village of Husbands Bosworth, near Leicester, a 13-year-old boy named John Smith, he suddenly began having what can only be described as seizures, like big seizures. He would throw himself to the floor, shake uncontrollably, scream in strange voices, and then even claim that he was being attacked by invisible forces. His fits became so violent that apparently it was said that 2 grown men couldn't restrain him. And at one point, he slammed his own chest with enough force that people thought that he was going to break his own ribs. Witnesses said that they could hear the thuds across the room. And yet, after every convulsion, every dramatic collapse, he had no injuries. His behavior was so strange and so convincing that villagers actually started whispering about dark forces. And they weren't just confused, they were actually afraid. As the boy's fits escalated, the village sought help from local women. Now, these particular women were known for their folk remedies and herbal knowledge. Essentially the 17th century version of community healers, or maybe a shaman or something like that. After one visit from one healer, the boy allegedly screamed, seized, and began accusing her of witchcraft. He eventually named 15 women in total, saying they were responsible for possessing him and tormenting his body. Among the accused were poor, often older women, many of whom who were already living on the margins of society. It didn't take much to end up on a witch trial docket in 1616 England. Just being strange, outspoken, or simply disliked could get you there. Of the 15 women accused, 9 were actually brought to trial, and in a swift, barely questioned decision, they were all found guilty and sentenced to death, and then they were hanged in Leicester. The remaining 6 were jailed, waiting for their turn to be tried, likely hoping the boy wouldn't say anything else. This is where things really took a turn that no one expected. So we're going to go down a short side quest here. I promise it's important and interesting, but it is important for the story. We're going to talk about King James I. So yes, this is the same guy that literally wrote the book on witch hunting. It's called the Demonologue, and I'm positive I said that wrong, but we're going to go with that. It was published in 1597 and was basically a royal how-to guide on spotting witches, communing with the demons, and why you should absolutely panic all the time. He was obsessed with witchcraft, and his paranoia had a national impact. Just 3 years after he became the King of England, he passed the Witchcraft Act of 1603, officially titled An Act Against Conjuration, Witchcraft, and Dealing with Evil and Wicked Spirits. The act made witchcraft a felony punishable by death and removed the usual legal protections like the benefit of clergy for anyone caught summoning spirits or chatting with familiars. All right, so now we're back to this case. So about a month or so after the women were hanged, King James just happened to be traveling through that region. So he heard about this dramatic case involving a possessed boy and a string of executions. And despite his reputation as a witch hunter, he was also known for being very skeptical of evidence based solely on panic. It was said that he insisted on actually meeting the boy himself. According to multiple sources, the moment the king began questioning him directly, the boy cracked. So under the pressure of a royal interrogation, John confessed that he had made everything up. The fits were fake. The voices were lies. The entire case had been built on an act. So a couple of months after that, the remaining 5 imprisoned women were freed. One of the 6 had already died in jail. And for the 9 who had already been hanged, There just was no undoing what had already been done. The fallout was immediate and humiliating. The two judges who had overseen the trials, Sir Humphrey Winch and Sir Ranulph Crewe, were embarrassed. They were humiliated. All the things. Though they didn't face any formal punishment, their reputations took a big hit, and it really kind of followed them for the rest of their lives. Sir Humphrey Winch, in particular, had a career that never fully recovered. His name is still associated with one of the most tragic missteps in early modern English legal history. As for the boy, John Smith, more or less he disappeared from record after his confession. We really don't know what happened to him. There isn't a record of any kind of formal punishment and no public apology. I mean, clearly back then we didn't have YouTube apology tours, but basically he just faded away, and it just feels so wrong considering the weight of what he actually did. Over time, the Leicester boy case became one of the several examples that helped shift legal attitudes around witch trials. It added to a growing skepticism about child testimony, especially in cases that involve religious or supernatural claims. So this whole thing is just so sad and so terrible, and I haven't really gone into any in-depth research on the witch trials. I know what happened, but I think I just haven't gone into that deep of research before because it just makes me so angry. So tell me what you think. Have you ever heard this story? What do you think about it? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. That's all I got for you for this video. Thank you for watching. This has been True Court Tales. Court is adjourned.